you were one of the first. You were the first venture capital board member. You've been with Pinterest since before it was an obvious investment. Why is Pinterest so valuable right now? It doesn't have any revenue. It was recently valued at $2.5 billion in its last venture round. What makes Pinterest a $2.5 billion company?
It's a special property, and I think for a couple of reasons. One is people love it. People spend enormous amounts of time using it, and they're deeply engaged. And anytime you have that, it's rare to have those characteristics in a web property. And so I think a lot of investors have said, wow, this is different. There are lots of new consumer web properties that pop up that grow quickly, but there are very few that grow really quickly and have really deep engagement where the users are just enthralled with it and like to spend a lot of time on it. And it's because, in many ways, it's connecting what they like to do in the real world with an activity that they can do online to sort of track what they do in the real world. And it's sort of hasn't really been done before, and it really struck a nerve.
Is part of its value tied to the fact that it's basically a social network that kind of centers around products, around things, and that is, the theory is that can be very valuable, easily monetizable?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I describe it that way. I think it's more about a place where people sort of collect or talk about or think about things that they want to do in real life online. And some of those things might be products that they want to buy, but some of those things might be a meal that they want to cook or a place that they may want to travel. So it's much broader than that. But yeah, one of the things that's exciting from a business model perspective, and obviously they're still working on that and they haven't released that, and so there are still many directions that they could go, but that anytime a person is in the mode of thinking about something they're going to do, many of those things that they might do, whether it's the food ingredients they buy to cook the food, or the airplane tickets or hotel tickets they buy to go travel, or the products that they buy because that's what they're thinking about, they all touch on commerce in some way. And so, in theory, those would be things that could be quite valuable if and when they're monetized. Right. But like I said, they're still a ways off from actually monetizing, and they're working on a lot of things, and I think it's got a great potential. Right.
Do you get a better sense of intent through Pinterest than, certainly, through Facebook or something like that?
Well, it's different. I mean, Facebook. I think of Facebook as a place I go to keep in touch with my friends and relatives, and often the dominant activity is either chatting or sharing photos from personal events, but it's not necessarily something I'm planning to go do in the offline world, whereas Pinterest is typically something I'm planning to go do in the offline world. And so I suppose you could think of that as different measures of intent, but sometimes it's not necessarily something I'm going to do, but it's something I'm passionate about.